Happy birthday, nephew.
That's simple. A lot of like to spend their money. We love to spend our money. We can't take none of this. None. Ain't no armored trucks pulling up at no funerals. Simple. So you better enjoy this. A fool and his money will part. We do this. So
Yeah. So look, I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film.
Lil Meech just dropped a bomb that's shaking the entire hip-hop scene. He's calling out Rick Ross for allegedly scamming Big Meech out of a jaw-dropping $120 million. And the internet is losing it. What started as low-key whispers online has exploded into a full-blown feud, BMF versus Rick Ross. And trust, nobody's backing down. The streets are lit with gossip, timelines are flooded with debates, and fans are taking sides like it's a war zone. Everyone's asking the same thing. Did Rick Ross really hustle one of the most respected figures in street history just for fame and money? This isn't just beef, it's betrayal at the highest level. At first, it all looked like the comeback we've been waiting for. Big Meech finally got out of prison last October, and people were hyped to see him rebuild.
It would lead to February 13th, the Big Meech home benefit concert. It's gonna be iconic. Too many names to list, but let me salute some of the legends. Lil Baby, Boss Man D-Lo, 21 Savage, Sexy Red, Ricky Rose. Now, this the first time it's ever been done. Me performing BMF with the icon himself. This gonna be special.
Epic.
Get your tickets right now.
I'm back.
A quick Google search for you says that your net worth is $20 million.
I know I got more money than that. I might go 70 days without looking at my exact total amount of my money because it gives me anxiety keep looking at numbers all day. It's like when you put money in stocks, the stock trader told me, say, put a lot of money in stock, don't keep looking at that. It'll drive you crazy.
Through films, business, and power moves that would rewrite his legacy. Then out of nowhere, Ross slid into the picture talking big money and throwing around that $120 million film deal promise like it was nothing. He claimed he was about to turn Meech's life story into a Hollywood empire, but now fans are wondering if it was all just smoke and mirrors. It all sounded like a dream come true. Movie contracts, luxury brand collabs, and a global franchise stamped with the BMF name. On paper, it looked like generational wealth in motion, but behind all that flashy talk.
Right now, my shoulder broke, but we still getting to the money. We still count paper. This ain't a pump and dump, baby.
Think about it. It was all part of the plan. 50 Cent and Rick Ross, they set up Big Meech. Freeway Ricky, Rick Ross, and now you got 50 Cent, he owning the rights to be.
The street started whispering, saying it was all just smoke and mirrors. No movie, no deal, no money, just hype and headlines. According to insiders, Ross played the long game. Smooth talk, Hollywood connections, and promises that sounded too good to be true. Big Meech thought it was loyalty, real brotherhood, but others saw straight manipulation.
Take a picture with Rick Ross. Put your back against the wall and just slide down.
They say Ross walked away richer, louder, and more famous, while the BMF name got caught in another messy storm of confusion and betrayal. One street insider even said people were feeling bad for Lil Meech, but they blamed the older heads for letting it happen. They should have known better, he said. This wasn't friendship, this was business. And when it comes to business, loyalty can't save you from getting finessed. And just when folks thought things couldn't get crazier, boom, 50 Cent stepped into the mix. The man who built the real BMF legacy through his hit show wasn't staying quiet. From day one, 50 funded the series, paid for Lil Meech's acting lessons, and gave him the shot that turned him from a street kid into a certified star.
Ross nigga at you a couple weeks ago about a girl that you're not even with no more.
We wearing Travis Scott's all week.
What is it with you and Ross that's just been going on for so long?
Nothing else works. For him, outside of mentioning me. When things get bad, you mention me. It gets covered further. I get covered across the board.
they get covered on the hip hop law. It is what it is. And you watch, because I have nothing else to say. You just see it happen periodically as it goes. You know, you see that big white elephant, that property he lives at? It costs more than the nightclubs. He's in the nightclubs. What kind of rich cut his own grass? Why you out there cutting your own grass? You trying to save money, nigga? You don't want to pay for the lawn to get cut, huh?
Ain't nothing wrong with cutting your grass.
50 Cent treated the BMF story like sacred ground. He gave it respect, depth, and turned it into a TV phenomenon that put the legacy back on the map. But then out of nowhere, Lil Meech shocked everyone when he decided to roll with Rick Ross instead of the man who helped build his entire rise. That move didn't just raise eyebrows, it started a quiet war behind the scenes, and before long, the gloves came off.
Biggest boss Ricky Rose just got word. Meech concert not happening tonight, but 305 is going down at the office. Meet us there. Bam!
50 did what 50 does best. He took it straight to social media and started clowning Ross with surgical precision. The trolling was elite. He joked about Ross sending Wingstop wings to Big Meech's prison address. But behind the laughter was a cold message. Ross wasn't building the legacy. He was feeding off it. Then 50 turned up the heat. He started exposing things fans never knew, like how Lil Meech was allegedly showing up to set intoxicated, throwing up during training, and losing focus.
When that song came out, that's probably like the hottest I ever seen a rapper. People was confronting Ross everywhere, 100 deep, with Larry Hoover Jr. 100 deep to confront Ross about saying the old man name in the song. Even some of the BMF guys for saying he think he Big Meech. When it come to Meech, Meech had guys getting BMF tats on their face in the pen.
50 even joked about finding whippets in Meech's truck, laughing that he had to Google what they were. It was messy, but it hit hard. He kept saying, "I'm just talking, I'm just saying," but everybody knew what he meant. 50 was drawing a line, showing the world that while everyone else was playing games with the BMF name, he was the only one treating it like real business. While all this chaos was unfolding, Lil Meech kept smiling for the cameras, partying with Rick Ross, popping bottles, posing for photos like everything was smooth sailing. But the streets weren't fooled for a second.
I'm Big Meech, entrepreneur, here at 5 Star Smiles to make sure that my smile is right forever. First off, image is everything to me, you know, so the first thing people notice is the smile. So knowing that I was gonna be doing probably interviews and stuff like that and be in the limelight, I wanted to make sure that was the first thing I had did. And that's the thing, like a lot of people in the prison, they neglect that.
People started saying the partnership looked fake, built on ego, pride, and promises that never hit paper. It didn't take long for fans to switch up. Even Tony Yayo jumped into the mix, reminding everyone that 50 had been riding for Lil Meech since day one. No gimmicks, no fake loyalty, just real support and mentorship when nobody else believed in him. But once Lil Meech picked his side, that loyalty came with a price. Suddenly, the money started slowing up, the fame started fading, and you could see the frustration building. That's when Michael Rainey Jr., better known as Tariq from Power, decided to speak up, and his words blew up the internet. He said he didn't feel bad for Lil Meech or even Big Meech, because in his words, grown men should have seen this coming.
Yeah. So look, I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film. Which director? Shout out to my homie F. Gary Gray, Antoine Foucault, what's up? Tarantino. It's a lot of legends. This is gonna be big, I can feel it. I'm just talking.
That clip spread like wildfire, setting every blog page on fire. Meanwhile, Ross tried to keep the show rolling, promoting concerts, shouting tour dates like nothing was wrong. February 13th, get your tickets, Miami, Detroit, a TL exclamation mark. But everyone knew the energy had shifted and the empire was starting to crack.
Take a picture with Rick Ross. You like a hoe, nigga. Put your back against the wall and just slide down.
The moment 50 saw that clip, he went off again, and this time, he wasn't holding back. He doubled down behind Michael Rainey Jr.'s comments, saying it just proved what he'd been warning about all along. Weak loyalty and terrible judgment. The message hit loud and clear. Lil Meech had chosen clout over loyalty, and Rick Ross was once again feeding off another man's name like he always does.
February 13th, the Big Meech benefit concert. It's gonna be iconic. Too many names to list, but let me salute some of the legends. Lil Baby, Boss Man D-Lo, 21 Savage, Sexy Red, Ricky Rose. Now, this the first time it's ever been done. Me performing BMF with the icon himself. It's gonna be special.
Epic.
Get your tickets right now.
I'm back.
And let's be real, this wasn't even the first time Ross pulled something like this. People close to him been saying for years he's got a record of leaving his own people hanging. One insider even said Ross let his own crew get jumped in Canada just to test their loyalty. Cold, calculated, classic Ross. Then just like clockwork, Ross tried to flip the whole story again.
You took a picture with Rick Ross? Put your back against the wall and just slide down.
Out of nowhere, he announced some big budget BMF movie, claiming it was gonna rival 50's TV version. He started name dropping heavyweights like F. Gary Gray and Tarantino, but fans weren't buying it for a second. Everyone was calling it what it was, pure cap. People online were saying, I'm seeing a lot of mess about the Big Meech concert getting canceled.
Yes, Charleston White is correct. I'm a rapper, not a dealer. Be sure to catch my new show, 50 Cent, 50 Ways to Catch a Killer.
But no one's holding Rick Ross accountable. It was obvious. Ross was doing what he does best, talking loud, chasing headlines, and keeping the spotlight locked on himself. And that's when the story started to turn on him. The hip-hop world began to see through the smoke, and Wack 100 jumped right in, calling Ross the real villain in this saga. He didn't sugarcoat a single word.
I'm seeing a lot of about the Big Meech concert getting canceled. What I'm not seeing is anybody blaming Rick Ross for this. Nobody is saying, yo, Rick Ross.
He said exactly what everyone else was thinking. Wack 100 didn't mince his words. He straight up said Rick Ross was never loyal to Big Meech. According to him, Ross was just a slick manipulator using the BMF name to throw cheap shots at 50 Cent.
A quick Google search for you says that your net worth is $20 million.
I know I got more money than that. I might go 70 days without looking at my exact total amount of my money, because it give me anxiety keep looking at numbers all day. It's like when you put money in stocks, the stock trader told me, say, put a lot of money in stock, don't keep looking at that. It's gonna drive you crazy.
Wack made it crystal clear. If Ross truly respected Meech, he would have handled business quietly, with integrity. No cameras, no ego, no circus. But instead, Ross turned it into a full-blown spectacle. It became a one-man show, fake loyalty, loud energy, and endless flexing. Every post, every headline, every exclusive announcement somehow circled back to him. Not Meech, not BMF, just Rick Ross trying to keep the spotlight glued to his name. He paraded Big Meech's legacy around like a trophy, using it to boost his image and feed his ego while pretending it was all for the culture. But let's be real, it wasn't. Ross wasn't moving for the culture, he was moving for attention. From day one,
you took a picture with Rick Ross? Put your back against the wall and just slide down.
he'd been playing both sides, hyping Big Meech up with $1 Million talk and empire dreams while quietly stacking up his own bag behind the scenes. And the craziest part, he even managed to drive a wedge between Big Meech and 50 Cent, the man who rebuilt BMF from ashes and gave the name new life through television. When the dust finally settled, all that was left were broken promises, shattered trust, and flashy headlines that didn't mean a damn thing in the end. Rick Ross hit the internet doing what he does best, talking big and stirring drama. He went online bragging about buying people's masters, even throwing 50 Cent's name out there, saying he could buy his catalog anytime he wanted. The arrogance was wild. Then he took another slick shot.
Trying to decide how we gonna roll at this Meech concert tonight. 2 Lambs, 4 Raris, 5 double R's, something like that.
Claiming 50 had to take Lil Meech out of Detroit just to teach him how to act. It was a low-key way to clown both of them, but instead of looking powerful, Ross came off obsessed, desperate to be the loudest voice in the room. But when the hype started to fade, Ross went ghost. He disappeared from Meech's circle completely. No calls, no support, nothing. That's when the whispers started flying like wildfire. Insiders began saying Ross was the reason Lil Meech's Welcome Home benefit concert got canceled. At first, fans thought 50 was behind it, but people close to the situation said no. Ross pulled the plug himself. He didn't want Meech getting his momentum back or shining too bright. The word in the streets was harsh. They called it pure betrayal, using another man's pain and comeback story as marketing bait. That's cold. Ross had traded Meech's name for views, clicks, and attention. And once it stopped serving him, he cut him off like it was nothing. Lil Meech tried to clap back online, calling 50 Cent an internet gangster, saying he was hiding behind social media for attention, but fans weren't buying a single word. They'd seen the receipts, they knew the energy, and the streets had already made up their mind about who was real and who was just playing for the cameras. Fans weren't fooled for a second. They saw right through it. They said Lil Meech was just trying to do damage control, cleaning up the chaos Rick Ross left behind. By that point, the internet had turned the whole saga into a circus. Memes everywhere, jokes flying non-stop, and people clowning Lil Meech as the kid who got played in his own story. It was hard to watch, but it proved just how fast this industry flips when loyalty and money collide. Ross's history made the picture crystal clear. Every time he connects with someone who's already respected, something messy follows. Deals go bad, loyalty fades, and people end up feeling used. Just look back at Maybach Music Group, Meek Mill, Whale, Gunplay.
Think about it. It was all part of the plan. 50 Cent and Rick Ross, they set up Big Meech. Freeway Ricky, Rick Ross, and now you got 50 Cent be owning the rights to be.
All those names once stood proudly under Ross's label, but behind the flashy success, there were missing checks, shady contracts, and growing frustration. The pattern was too obvious. Ross would play the supportive boss in public while quietly pulling every string in private. It was ego over teamwork, control over collaboration. Over the years, that same move kept repeating. Ross knew exactly how to play the chessboard, boosting his own image while others took the hits. If Ross truly cared about BMF, he would have moved in silence, building with Big Meech, not on top of him. He could have honored that legacy with genuine respect, but instead, he went public. Loud, messy, and fully aware that 50 Cent would bite back, because this wasn't just business anymore, it was pride and power. 50 wasn't reacting out of ego. He was defending something real, a brand he built from scratch, blood, sweat, and vision. Meanwhile, Ross was out here poking the bear just to keep the spotlight burning, and that's where everything started to unravel. Even Meek Mill, once seen as Ross's right-hand man, eventually distanced himself after realizing that MMG was never built for everyone to win. The spotlight was always only big enough for one.
This is the gentleman's side of Meech, right? Yep. The plane lands Friday night. It's like 12 midnight. Alex calls me. He's like, yo, Chris, Meech needs the biggest suite in Cancun. I'm like, I ain't no travel agent. He's like, no. When I landed, they told me that you got the presidential suite at the Coral Beach. I'm like, are you crazy? Like, I love Meech, but I'm not giving him my room. I'm like, yo, man, I'm not giving him my room. He's like, he'll give you $60,000 right now. I was paying $3,000 a night. He had that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. But here's the gentleman's side of Meech. I switched to another suite. I get a phone call. I'm like, yo, what's up? Who's this? He's like, yo, is this Chris Latimer? I'm like, yeah. He's like, yo, we up in the presidential suite. I got some messages from you. I'm like, all right, cool, man. Tell me what they are. And I'm like, yo, brother, man, thanks a lot, man. Yo, tell Meech, good looking out, man. He's like, Chris, it is Meech.
That's important because a lot of people don't understand. To get to the top, you have to pay attention to every small detail. And knowing me calling him hear my voice, he knows the kind of man that I am.
Rick Ross. And now that same exact playbook is being used on Big Meech and Lil Meech. That so-called $120 million empire that was supposed to change their lives, it turned out to be nothing but a ghost deal. All smoke, no substance, and no real paper behind it. Meanwhile, Ross walked away, again, with another round of free publicity, interviews, followers, and trending moments. Fans started connecting the dots fast. Every single time Ross's fame starts to dip, he finds someone real, someone respected, to latch on to. He did it with Drake back in the MMG days, then with Meek, then with Larry Hoover's name, and now he's doing it again with Big Meech. It's the same formula every single time. But while Ross keeps chasing clout, 50 Cent flipped the whole game upside down. 50 took real stories, pain, struggle, street history, and turned them into billion-dollar productions like Power, Raising Canaan, and BMF. He turned pain into profit, loyalty into legacy, and street tales into empires. That's the difference. One man builds while the other borrows. Fans started saying it plain. Ross is playing checkers, 50's playing chess. One's thinking long-term, building something that lasts, the other's chasing quick viral highs that fade by next week. Behind all the noise and flexing, the truth's becoming too clear to deny. Every time Rick Ross steps into someone else's world, that world ends up broken, confused, and left behind while he walks away smiling for the cameras. At this point, the game is crystal clear. Rick Ross's playbook never changes. He builds his shine off other people's names, flipping their struggles into his own success. The real question is, how many more folks are gonna fall for it before they realize what's really happening? Because one thing's for sure, every time someone stands next to Ross, they eventually learn that loyalty under his watch never lasts. Only clout lasts. That's the pattern. And at this point, it's undeniable. When you really look back at Rick Ross's career, it's like he's been running the same hustle since day one. Think about it. Ross didn't just start this habit with Big Meech. It goes way back to the real Rick Ross, the actual drug kingpin whose name the rapper took while the man was sitting behind bars. Ross literally built his whole rap identity off another man's life story. The real Rick Ross even took him to court fighting to reclaim his own name, but did that stop him? Not at all. Ross doubled down, profiting off the myth until the brand became bigger than the truth. He flipped another man's reality into a multi-million-dollar persona, and he's been running the same blueprint ever since. Then came Larry Hoover's name, another real legend whose story Ross used for clout. He started dropping Hoover's name in songs, music videos, and interviews like it was just another aesthetic. But to the streets, those names mean something. Those men built power from pain, and Ross turned that power into a marketing tool to boost himself even higher. Now he's doing the same thing again, this time with Big Meech and BMF. Another legacy borrowed, twisted, and remixed into his brand. But the difference is, this time, the streets are watching closer than ever. They see exactly how Ross turns real pain into content, loyalty into clickbait, and powerful legacies into social media campaigns. And the pattern keeps repeating. Ross wins the attention game, but everyone he touches ends up losing something deeper: their respect, reputation, or peace. Meanwhile, 50 Cent keeps stacking real wins, flipping stories into franchises, turning truth into art, and building empires that actually hold weight. Ross might be loud, but 50's playing the long game, and that's why his name keeps getting stronger while Ross keeps chasing the next viral moment. 50 Cent isn't out here chasing validation. He's building empires. He's been warning everyone about Rick Ross for years, calling him a fraud way before any of this came to light. And now, every word he said is unfolding in real time for the whole world to see. Fans have receipts, screenshots, and old interviews all showing the same thing. Ross doesn't move for loyalty or legacy, he moves for attention. One viral comment summed it up perfectly. Rick Ross is a fraud, period. He ruined a whole legacy chasing clout. That line hit like a punch because it's exactly what happened. When you line it all up, the pattern screams loud. Ross always builds his shine off people who already carry real weight in the streets or the industry. He steps in, makes wild promises, and once things crumble, he ghosts. Whether it's his MMG family or his supposed street ties, the story always ends the same way. Ross wins the spotlight while everyone else takes the fall. Even the way he hyped up that so-called BMF movie, dropping names like Tarantino and Antoine Fuqua, was nothing but smoke and mirrors. There's no movie, no $120 million deal, no Hollywood masterpiece in the works. Just another round of flashy headlines keeping him viral while others are left cleaning up the mess he made. And now that Lil Meech is catching the backlash, people are asking the real questions. Did he trust the wrong man, or did he get caught up in a bigger hustle he never saw coming? Either way, it's a tough lesson to learn, because in this industry, image is everything. And Ross, he knows how to play that game better than anyone. When the buzz dies down, he just finds a new name, a new story, a new spark to keep himself shining in the chaos. Every time the pattern repeats, chaos follows. Relationships break, trust fades, and somehow, the only one left standing in the spotlight is Rick Ross. Even people who were once close to him have started to pull away. Former associates saying they were left behind, artists speaking on shady contracts, and old business partners describing him as all talk, no delivery. To them, Ross's empire was never built on loyalty. It was built on illusion. Every move he makes feels calculated for exposure, not trust. Every headline is perfectly crafted to make him look powerful, even when the foundation belongs to someone else. And now the streets are asking the real question. Was Rick Ross ever truly loyal to Big Meech, or was he just trying to become Big Meech in the eyes of the culture? Because when you really look at it, it makes perfect sense. The BMF track that made Ross famous wasn't about honoring a brother. It was about embodying that image, taking on that identity, and soaking up all the street respect that came with it. That's been his formula from day one, building his entire brand off other people's legacies, stories, and pain. And the sad truth, Big Meech's name deserved better. His legacy was supposed to stand for redemption, rebuilding, and rebirth. Not confusion, controversy, and clout chasing. But once Ross stepped into the picture, the message got twisted. The focus shifted from rebuilding a legacy to chasing viral attention. And now that everything's unraveling, even fans are seeing it for what it really is: manipulation, ego, and clout addiction. So what's next for BMF? Can Lil Meech rebuild the trust he lost? Can Big Meech take back control of his name and rewrite the story the right way? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure: 50 Cent's words are echoing louder than ever. Real ones build, fake ones borrow, and right now the streets know exactly who's who. So if you've been locked into this wild saga, let's hear it. Who's really winning this war, and who's just playing the game? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This conversation's just heating up. And before you go, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and keeps these deep dives coming your way. Turn on those notifications, stay tuned for the next breakdown, and I'll see you in the next video. This saga is far from over, not by a long shot.